Today's SideQuest is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Incogni, but more about them at the end. For now, my dear friends, let's dive into the underwater realm of submarines. We all know how important they were during the Second World War. Germany's famous submarine wolfpacks terrorized Allied shipping across the Atlantic and brought the United Kingdom to the brink of collapse. But what was it actually like to be in charge of one of these thoracic beasts? Well, for a start, it wasn't particularly spacious. Your classic World War II-era German U-boat, for example, would have had about 50 crew members tightly packed into its 50 by 5 meter hull. And to make matters worse, the entire submarine reeked of diesel, courtesy of the U-boat's powerful diesel engines, which also made it impossible to hold a conversation anywhere in the back half of the submarine. You, as the commander, would have your own little quarters, but beyond that, the experience was equally miserable for everybody. So let's say you've departed from one of the German submarine bases in occupied France and are now on the hunt for enemies. Your most common target would be Liberty ships, the American cargo vessels that kept the UK in the war by ferrying vital supplies like food and Coca-Cola and machine parts across the Atlantic. Now, Liberty ships did not travel alone. They made the journey in convoys of 50, escorted by about a dozen corvettes and destroyers. These escorts were armed with 4-inch guns. Do you like the guns? And depth charge racks. They were twice as fast and came equipped with multiple tracking systems. Active sonar, which emits sound and listens for the echoes bouncing off the submarine, and high-frequency direction finding, which intercepts your radio transmissions to HQ. Now, of course, in ideal conditions, this would be more than enough to find and blow up your submarine as soon as you launched a torpedo. But, luckily for you, the Atlantic Ocean is not famous for its ideal conditions. Titanic, case in point. Near far, wherever you are, I know my heart will go on, as will my torpedo. Once you spot a convoy, your first order of business is to phone in to HQ. There, coordinating all the U-boat movements from a comfy villa-turned-headquarters in Brittany, is Admiral Donuts. And he's absolutely thrilled to hear the news. He directs the closest dozen or so U-boats to head for your location, and once your wolf pack has assembled, you trail the convoy, waiting for the perfect time to strike. Usually the convoy will realize it's under attack as soon as the first torpedo is launched. Passive sonar, which is little more than a glorified underwater microphone, can easily pick up the sudden burst of compressed air from the torpedo launcher. The torpedoes themselves can also give you away, since they travel relatively close to the surface and leave a distinct trail in the water that can be spotted by an alert lookout. That's why you wait for a dark, moonless night with stormy weather to begin the assault. Strangers in the night. Ideally, the escorts don't react until you've blown up your first Liberty ship.
Holy torpedo, Batman!
By which point you've already fired your full salvo of 4 to 5 torpedoes and are rapidly advancing in the opposite direction.
Schnell! Schnell!
You're now playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse. The escorts are hunting you, and they're a lot faster. You can try diving to deeper, colder, or saltier waters. Anything that changes the water's density makes you harder to detect via sonar. In the unlucky event that the escorts do get wind of your location, they'll saturate the area with depth charges. And if one of them goes off within 10 meters, your U-boat is gone. Luckily, the ocean is big, and dropping depth charges is fairly inaccurate. Detonations farther than 35 meters are unlikely to damage the submarine, although they'll definitely hurt your crew's morale. It's like sitting in a barrel that's being hit with sledgehammers. Nasty business. Even if you don't suffer any retaliation, you still need to surface every 24 hours for fresh air and to recharge your batteries, which obviously leaves you vulnerable to being spotted, and not just by the escorts, but also by reconnaissance planes.
Hello, chaps. I think I've spotted a U-boat come to the surface, over. That's a negatory. That is a local lady in the water. Oh, by golly.
If you managed to avoid all of that, congratulations. You now have to do this 2 more times until you run out of torpedoes, at which point you'll head back to the French coast to reload and go hunting again. And you'll repeat this until you either sink or surrender. Sounds marvelous fun, doesn't it? Now, the U-boat crews knew the importance of keeping your information safe, and so do our dear friends and sponsors of today's video, Incogni. They let you know if companies are collecting, aggregating and trading your personal data without you knowing anything about it. This could result in your data becoming part of a data breach, which can happen with a frightening regularity. Your data is likely swirling around the internet right now, sold by the services you use to data brokers, who then resell your data to pretty much anyone willing to pay for it, or they just get hacked. Incogni uses local privacy laws to force data brokers to get rid of your data, simplifying a process that might otherwise take you years of manually sending deletion requests via email. They've even helped that local lady we thought was a U-boat earlier. Marvelous! No hard feelings, my lovely! As a special courtesy to SideQuest viewers, Incogni are offering 20% off to the first 100 people that register with the code SideQuest. Go to incogni.com/SideQuest or click on the link in the description to make the first step towards securing your online data. Now, my friends, thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next suspiciously stealthy episode of SideQuest. There is the right way, and then there is the German way.